not black or white. It's not black or white with Tim Stevenson and Diane Blakely.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, what's up? This is It Is Not Black or White. I should say It's Not Black or White podcast. We are your hosts, Tim Stevenson and
Diane Blakely,
for another episode of what goes on in this crazy, cool, exciting, sometimes not so exciting world we live in. But let's start first with gas prices, because gas prices are up, even though they say it's $1 somewhere, right?
Yeah, he's doing that at my request because I went to Costco today and I got a full tank of gas, and I have an SUV, so I know it's going to be a little bit more for me to fill my tank. But it was $126.80 today at Costco. I literally went out of my way. Like, I'm kind of a creature of convenience. I like to have my food delivered to me. Mm-hmm. I like to go to a convenient gas station. But I drove out of my way to get gas because I knew I'd get cheaper gas at Costco. But I could not believe it when I was done filling the tank that it was actually, I don't think I ever in my entire driving life.
What was it per gallon?
I don't know what it was per gallon. I can tell you, we could probably do the math. I put in 16 gallons of gas.
Yeah, I've been driving around. The average I've seen has been like $6
it's like $6.05.
Yeah,
$6.05, which is what it is at the regular pump. So I thought I'm getting a discounted rate from that, but it must have been pennies or something, because
it's probably not that drastically different.
No.
Just a tiny bit maybe.
And all I kept thinking was, I drove out of my way. I used gas to get here. Yeah. So maybe it would have been cheaper if I just went to the one that was closer, because I wouldn't have had to use the gas. The gas that caused me.
You used the gas to get to the gas, to pay more money for gas, to go home and use up the gas that you would have saved.
Yeah, but I was amazed at how people will twist themselves in pretzels to try to defend this ridiculousness. I mean, somebody actually accused it as why do Democrats care about gas now? And I thought, that is the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard. First of all, everybody, it doesn't matter what political position you hold, everybody is paying more across the country. So don't give me that nonsense. Oh, that only happens in California. Because you know what? It's happening collectively across the United States.
Yeah.
And why? Why is it happening? Well, let's see. If they're all self-imposed issues, like we decided, and when I say we, I don't mean the half that voted like I did. I'm squarely blaming the people that voted for Trump. Sorry, guys, you get this. He wants to be winner, chicken dinner. He gets all the credit for not understanding how the world economy would be affected by his little jaunt into Netanyahu's backyard. You know, I do believe that he is doing this at the, insistence of Netanyahu. I really do.
You think Netanyahu's running?
I do think he got the president, because 4 other presidents said, no way, we're not doing that. We're not going to go after Iran. And Netanyahu had tried to get 4 other presidents to do so. And he finally found one that would cave, or at least think it was beneficial.
And that's where I think, and you're right, I think that's where a lot of people are split these days. Like, I've been watching people who are typically either MAGA or just way more conservative upset about the Iran thing, because it was promised to them that we would have no more foreign wars. And now that we are, and people are dying, then everyone now has a problem, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have 2 big problems. They have the war problem and the Epstein files. Those are the 2 things that finally, and I'm all on top of that too. You're not going to find a Democrat, and I'm a Democrat, and I'm proud to be a Democrat. I'm going to say here right now, right here and right now, Democrats care about people. I'm sorry.
I'm a Republican.
You're a
Republican. I'm a Republican. I'm right in the middle.
Yeah.
It depends on the issue.
So does that make you an independent then?
I'm an independent. I've been independent my whole life.
Well, I'm not. I'm not an independent. And I'm not going to make excuses for being a Democrat anymore. And I think the Democrats need to come out and stop criticizing themselves. Let the Republicans criticize us. Don't do it to your own party. Do you see the Republicans criticizing themselves? Rarely. So don't do it, Democrats. Democrats need to tighten up their message. Stop trying to explain everything with too much detail. I really think
that's soft.
Well, I think it's that their biggest problem is that they give too much detail. So then people are like, I don't even know what you're talking about. use simple language, simple things. Gas is $126 to fill up my SUV, plain and simple. I'm not going to tell you how that happened. You can go figure that on your own. The thing that's happening is everyone's paying more for gas. So Democrats don't like that. Democrats don't want you to pay more for gas. Democrats didn't want the Iran war. Democrats want you to pay attention to the things that matter here in the United States, to the American people. And stop saying that ludicrous thing. Democrats only care about immigrants. Stop it. They care about
that's
all
rhetoric.
people.
That's what everybody does. Everybody tries to pin whatever's happening on one party or another, right?
Ridiculous.
But just to say that all Democrats, right? Because there's levels of Democrats, just like there's levels of Republicans. But to put them all in the same bowl and say all Democrats want illegals to be here, and all Democrats want the illegals to get health care before an American citizen, that's also not true.
It's not true. And and I'm glad you brought that up, because I was having this conversation with Frank. And right now, wake up, America. If you're not paying attention and you're not a fiscally responsible person, then you don't know what's happening to the deficit under this administration. And Trump gets credit. Yay, Trump. You get credit for having the biggest deficit ever. And the sadder part of it, it's not the deficit's not helping us. It's not helping healthcare. It's not making sure that children get food that are in poor areas. It's not doing any of the things. It's certainly not helping anybody with, the cost of living. So if you're going to say you're America first, then you better damn well put your money where your mouth is, because I'm sorry, I seem a little heated today because I'm mad. I'm super mad because we've got a healthcare crisis in this country. And as you know, I had a health crisis a year and a half ago. So you don't realize how much you need healthcare till you get sick. When you get sick, suddenly you're like, well, oh crap, everybody's had insurance. And when you hear that Joe down the street, his wife got sick, and you're like, wow, that's really sad for them. Don't they have health care? Well, you'd be surprised. They probably do, because more than 93% of Americans have health care. The problem is our health care is so jumbled, and some insurances cover some things, some insurance cover other things. What you find out about is that you can have health insurance, but most people can only afford to have health insurance that has deductibles that are like $5,000 and $10,000. So right off the bat,
and you're right, I have health care, but even then,
do you have a big deductible?
No, I don't.
That's good.
But I still I'll go see my primary, and he'll give me like a referral for something, and then the referral company says, "Oh, we don't take your insurance." Right?
Oh, really?
It happens a lot. I mean, I don't have a top of the line healthcare or anything like that, but I have enough to get what I need to get done. But there are certain things, like even now, it's like, oh, I need to go do a sleep study. But then I called the one on the referral that was given to me by my primary, and they say, we don't take your insurance in this office. Now they got to send it to another office to get approval to see if they'll do it in another office, even though they're all still in the same community of healthcare.
Well, it's funny that you say it. So years ago, many, many years ago, when my son was really little, when Obamacare, and it is called the Affordable Care Act, folks. So for those people who were like calling it Obama,
I thought we were supposed to get Trump care.
What
happened to Trump care?
He had a concept.
I thought that was the first thing they were going to get rid of Obamacare, and it was going to be like Trump care, but that never actually happened, even in this first.
No, but you know what they did get rid of? The tax subsidy. So everybody's insurance went up exponentially. He did that. Another nice job, Trump. You're really for the American people. I want American people to wake up. And this is everybody. This isn't just Democrats. This is Republicans, Independents, Green Party, Libertarians. Wake up. Because this is like ridiculous. Like, I don't know anybody who thinks this stuff is okay. It's starting to drive me crazy. I'm losing sleep, folks, over this.
Don't lose sleep.
I'm trying desperately not to look aged. and some of this stuff does keep me up at night, because I think that, I think people can collectively say, most people want to make sure they have food. They want a roof shelter, and they want to care for the people that they love,
of
right?
course, yeah.
But we've got a huge problem in healthcare. I mean, as I told you, a year and a half ago, I got cancer. Something that shocked me. In fact, I didn't even feel like anything was wrong. That was the scary part.
Right.
Just going about my life, having a great life, and then all of a sudden I go for a regular checkup, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God. They like send me to all these different facilities to have extra testing done,
right.
And then I got cancer. And like I said, you don't know how much you need your insurance. I had really good insurance, like good insurance. Like if I needed chemo or to get white blood cells or anything like that, they literally come to my house.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Whereas other people have to go sit with other people. So I did not have to have. They would have loved to have done that to me, but I said no.
Come here and do my stuff in my house.
Because it's a lot of money.
Oh,
you know what I didn't know? I didn't know when you get chemotherapy that your oncologist gets a portion of that. The hospital gets it's like $180,000.
What is the percentage of people who do chemo that survive? It's a small percentage.
It's a small percentage, right? So chemotherapy, depending on the kind of cancer, I had a cold cancer, which they call it that because your immune system doesn't see it. So therefore, when they try to do things like chemotherapy, unless you have really high proliferating cells, your body does the chemo doesn't see it, so it doesn't kill it. So it's sort of irrelevant. For me, I had what was called a high onco score, the OncoDX score, but I want the listeners to really listen carefully because I'm sure there's some woman out there, because I was at a party, there were 10 women, 8 of us had cancer that year. Yeah. So they think now, with those percentages, like 1 in 2 people are going to get cancer sometime in their lifetime. So if you know that, there's a couple things that I want to employ on you. Don't take HRT. They already know that it gives you 3 times more likely the chance as a female to get hormone-related cancer. And don't be giving me all that BS about bioidentical. It doesn't matter. But if it makes you sleep better at night when you're sticking something in your body that shouldn't be there after you don't make people anymore, go right ahead. Go ahead and do that for 5 years, and you can feel great for 5 years, and then you can be me and have to worry about it the rest of your life. So, hello, American women, don't do it. and I've had people argue with me. I'm like, oh, did you have cancer? Because I promise you, you do not know more of the subject than I do when you're trying to save your own life,
Right.
But, what I was saying about the testing, the thing that I learned most about healthcare is that there is standard healthcare. Like, this is what we do for this. And we don't deviate that. We don't look at the whole human body. And that was a real shocker to me because I had to wait till I got an oncologist from Kettering Sloan who moved from New York to run the integrative healthcare at UCI. And suddenly I'm like, oh my God, this guy actually cares about what I did before I got cancer. That's like a big deal. So what I've learned too, and to your point, when you got a referral to go to another doctor and then they're like, oh, we don't cover that here with your insurance. What I realized when you get a disease or something that needs a certain amount of healthcare, right, outside of regular checkups, they don't want to treat, like, they burned my liver with radiation. They got my liver. So I was running all these tests. I could see my AST and my AO2s were super elevated. That's either like you have fatty liver disease, like you're a drinker, and I don't drink, And so I'm like, what? Did they burn my liver? Did they radiate my liver? No. I have all these stickers on me. They did. They actually did. My new oncologist goes, oh, your stickers were here and here, and this is where your liver is. You can't avoid it. So you're not going to believe this. So the oncology people burn your liver, the radiologist and their team burn your liver. But if you have a liver problem, they send you to a liver doctor. The people who hurted you. Yeah. The people who hurt you don't take care of what they hurt. They send you to another specialist. So the drug that they wanted to put me on, which I took for a while, started messing up my hands, making my hands feel crickety. Nothing ever has made me feel old until you try to poison yourself with some random drug. And they sent me to an orthopedic. So they break you. They mess you up by giving you some sort of treatment.
Right.
And then they send you, I can't tell you how many doctors I saw, all different specialties. And then the minute you tell them, oh, well, this is wrong too. Oh, we don't do that. You need to go to a physical therapist for that. You're like, oh my God, could the people who cause all this stuff, like take care of it? They don't get out of their
My Tim brain is working. And I'm going, well, if somebody who broke your liver, let's use that word, broke your liver, couldn't fix your liver and sent you to someone who could, what are the chances that the original company gets a kickback from sending you there?
Oh, I am convinced, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist,
right?
Because I'm a Democrat. No, I'm sorry, I just had to say that. But it doesn't generally go with progressives. They're not generally the people who are going, oh, they cheated, or they did this, or they did that. That's not generally something that we get all sorts of stuff, or radicals and all this other stuff, but not that. But you're right. That's the thing that I realized. I think when you're treated at a big hospital,
right,
I think it's a business. In fact, I found out about cryoablation. So I had early stage ductal carcinoma, of which case makes me a candidate for a thing called cryoablation.
Right.
Listen to this, woman. Before you let anybody carve you like a Christmas turkey, because I let them do that to me. There is a thing called cryoablation where they stick a needle in you and they freeze the tumor. It explodes and it elicits your own immune response, so that if there's little fragments of DNA shedding and stuff, your immune system goes after and kills it.
Right.
And you don't have any scar. You have like a needle mark where they inserted the needle, but I have two really lovely, like hard scar areas in my body from surgery.
Gotcha.
And I'd much rather have that than cancer in there. But now I get pathology reports that say no evidence of disease, but where those scars are, we can't tell if there's cancer underneath them. Isn't that fun? So you made these scars, you gave them to me because you couldn't tell me at the Hoag Hospital about cryoablation because you didn't offer it, because you would lose money. You got lots of money by carving me like a Christmas turkey, and it was at Christmas time too, by the way. So it makes me mad.
But how many hospitals, let's just call it the hospital, because hospitals are the business, because there are doctors who got into being a doctor because they wanted to actually help people, but a lot of them are bound by the companies they work for, or can only recommend certain things because it's approved by a foundation that allows them to do so. So how many hospitals actually believe in healing people, except more than treating symptoms and maybe prolonging your life at a cost, right? Or take this pill for the rest of your life and you'll sustain health for this amount of time.
It's funny you say that, because there was a word that I wrote down in here. The incentives aren't always aligned with the patients. And then there was a thing where they were talking specifically about how people, doctors in the medical community, don't look at like how to treat powerful treatment plans, livable, this is what it is,
right?
But not always a livable whole person plan. Right. So they're like looking at a treatment plan, like they're just looking at like, how do we treat it? So like for me, I have hormone hungry cancer.
Right.
I had hormone hungry cancer. So what do? They're like, let's get rid of all our hormones. And then it absolutely devastated my body, which is why I'm not taking it right now, because it made it so I couldn't even walk down my stairs. I mean, I take Tim's class. I am not the best dancer, but I try hard to get some flavor like he has.
I got flavor.
But I did it originally to make myself feel mentally better, and also physically, as long as I was moving, I could keep my joints from stiffening up on me. That was the original intent. Right. And now I'm just addicted. And you would be too if you took this class. But they don't care about that. Once you're not making the big money, like the surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation, those are the big ticket items. Right. And then getting stuck on a drug, which, by the way, I never knew this. Did you know that when they make drugs, the FDA says that the drug only has to be 80% the drug, and then the rest of the 20% left over is packed with fillers, which are part of the reason that people have bad reactions to the drug, because
You mean they cut the drugs?
Yeah.
They cut cocaine. It's the same thing. It's still a drug. It's
just like that.
Right.
But that's so gross. So I don't know what the fillers are that they put in these drugs, but they put fillers in them. So I'm on this anastrozole feed on my Facebook. Don't get caught in that one. And it's the worst thing I ever did. Because now it's kind of like it's like opening Pandora's box. I want to see, what are they saying? What are they saying? Will I benefit? And then sometimes I read it and I'm like, oh, then I scare myself. Then I have to do my EMDR and start tapping my body because I did that for trauma reasons. But do you think any one of those doctors, so cancer people and anybody with a disease like ALS, MS, any of those horrible things that are the awful gift that can go on giving, they need to have their mindset changed, right?
Exactly.
And they don't care about that. There's no plan in place where they're like, we're going to give you, some extra help. That's not, I think.
Because mindset for most people in the medical industry is a theory, right? They don't believe in mind over matter. They don't believe in
mom's a perfect example of that.
You are the placebo or any of those things, right? They just, whatever is backed by the science that they tell you is what they tell you.
Do you see? This is why he doesn't have cancer. Why you're looking at a person like a type A personality. I'm like looking at you. I'm all revved up.
Well, like my mom, for example. Again, we found this Renee Cassidy, this tea called Easy Eye. Everybody go get that, or fluorescence. They don't sell it as a healing tool. They sell it as an immune system builder because they legally can't say it helps cure anything. But that, along with my mom's changing her diet and her faith and things like that, your mindset. If you tell yourself you're sick, you'll be sick.
Yeah, I truly believe that because I tell myself every morning, I'm like, you did HRT and it gave you cancer. The Million Women study, and I know there's people out there who are like, oh, you had synthetic hormones, that's why you got it. I did bioidentical too, so pick your poison, right? They're the same thing. You're not supposed to have that much estrogen when you don't make people anymore. That's just the reality. And there's reasons that people get it that are outside of hormone usage, because I know plenty of people who didn't do it and they still got cancer. So it's in our food, our water, something, right? But you're right. The mindset is such a huge thing. So that's why I addressed it with my trauma with EMDR, because when you have something like that, it's absolutely terrifying. For me as a human, it was. And so I see a person every Tuesday that treats me like I was in the war in Iraq. I mean, I do the same stuff not that I was actually in a war, because that I think is scary in a whole nother way, but they rewire your brain so that your brain calms down. So when somebody tells me inadvertently, yeah, so-and-so just had a heart attack and they had radiation, normally I would go straight there and I'd be very stressed and I'd be like, oh my God, and I'd think about it all night. Now I just start doing the butterfly.
Like butterfly wings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And tapping, or holding.
Because they're sensory, right?
Yeah.
It's sensory things that are healing.
They are.
What you're doing isn't medicine, but it's healing, right?
Yeah.
It's like acupuncture, or what do they call it when they press on the points in your feet, reflexology?
Reflexology.
Right. All those things. Nobody's giving you a pill. No one's sticking a needle in your foot. You're just tapping on your, I heard from the guy, I guess his brother created the MRI too, who's an acupuncture, old Chinese man. And he was saying things like, if you have problems with your eyesight, they put the needle in your pinky toe.
Yeah.
It's a direct correlation to your cornea, things like that.
It really works. So I have a friend who has been doing acupuncture on me. And I never knew this about it. I had done acupuncture 6-7 years ago.
Right.
And I found it reasonably okay. But this particular guy that does it is masterful at it. He's one of the best acupuncturists around. And he does tuning. And I've never heard that before. So once the needle's in, it stays in there for 15 minutes. And then he literally comes down around where all the needles are and he turns them till it elicits almost like the feeling when you hit your elbow.
It's like a shock.
Like a funny bone feeling. And you're like, ooh. And that's your little chakra in that area. It was really interesting. And that helped a lot of the inflammation and joint pain and stuff. And I think it also calmed me. He's a very zen human being. So just, he used to tell me.
I tell people this all the time. Don't get me wrong. There are people who study Chinese medicine that are really good at it. But when you go to an old Chinese man or old Chinese woman, for them, it's a lifestyle. For them, it's about healing. When the guy told me I should be able to treat you twice and you should never have to come back. And
really?
That was on my knee years ago before this. That was probably 30 years ago. I never went back. And I never felt my knee again until recently, right? But I was
gotta go back to him.
20, yeah, but he moved away somewhere. But luckily I found one woman in Mission Viejo, and she's Chinese and she's younger. And she was telling me stuff like, you know, they'll tell you, oh, you need to have surgery on your meniscus. He's like, man, I'm going to show you a video. There's like 90-year-old Chinese men carrying 60 pounds on their back, going up a hill every day.
Yeah. Well, there are places in China in particular where they live longer than other people because of the way that they handle their mental capacity, the way they handle the way they think, the way they eat, the way they move. Right. Yeah, and the way they move and stuff, they're more flexible at an older age. It's that old adage, if you don't use it, you'll lose it.
Well, think about meditation. That's what it is. Even when you go to a sound bath, even when you go to yoga classes, like real yoga classes, it's about mindset. It's about, you're doing poses, yes, but they all signify something, and usually it's spiritual. And most
I like Tai Chi. For me, yoga is too hard, because I've had vertigo in my lifetime. That bending over and downward dog and moving my head. Sometimes it shifts the crystals in my ear and I can feel a little dizzy. And Tai Chi doesn't do any of that, but it's the same sort of concept, meditating. But I do highly recommend sound bath. I went to one in Newport. I'm sure it was a hoity-toity sound bath, but it was awesome.
I had a friend, she went to sound bath and she liked it until the person next to her started snoring.
Yes.
She's like, the snoring just killed it from because it's like a different sound. Right.
It was so weird when that guy did that. Well, the instructor said, I want everyone to be relaxed, and gave out these little black masks. His name is Kyle Lamb, and it really is beautiful. If you get a chance to do it, look him up on the internet because it was really something else. I loved it. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again next month. So you watch the sunset and the moon come up in the back, you know, and it was really beautiful. And I thought I wasn't supposed to be looking around, you know, that's why we had masks. But apparently it was being filmed. So I was like, I peeked. I did break the rules. I peeked a little bit. But before he started, he did tell people, I want you to feel very relaxed, but I don't want you to fall asleep and snore. And so I thought, no one's going to do that. Sure enough.
You will. You ever fall asleep during massage because it feels good. You just tune out. But being on the beach, and like if you ever like just randomly take a nap on the beach, it's the most beautiful, serene moment. You hear the waves crashing. It's all nature.
It's really beautiful. I got the calm app. I mean, I'm sure you're like looking at this, Tim. Very calm. Diane, like a little wiry chihuahua. I'm very passionate. But I definitely know that I have to find moments in my life where I'm not around noise, where I'm not around people, because I'm one of those people who feel like silence is a bad thing. I need to keep talking.
But, I have a lot of friends like that. They don't like the quiet.
Yeah. I like the quiet when I'm in my house and stuff. And like if I do take a walk to the beach, or if I'm on a plane, for those people who like to start conversations and then talk to you for 5 hours.
That's why you put on your headphones. Noise canceling headphones. And you tune everybody out.
And then you're like, sorry, I can't tell you. I can't tell you about your dating life for 5 hours.
Oh, I get that too. People tell me their whole life on a plane or at a bar at the airport. It's crazy.
Yeah, they'll tell. That's because you've got a really zen personality. But, you know, I've been thinking a lot about like how to, because I think, this is going to sound a little cliche, I'm sure. Your brain is the pilot of your aircraft, meaning your brain dictates everything else that's going to happen to you physiologically, right? And so just for everyone's perspective, I got COVID, lost my estrogen, and I got COVID long hauler, and then I did HRT all within a few months of each other. Wow. And I think it was like a perfect storm to put my body in a place that it shouldn't be, right? Like I didn't just let nature take its road. And it was funny. I was like, Good American, love that store.
Mm.
And I was talking to a woman who had just stuck a patch on her. And of course, I feel very passionate about it. And I have friends who disagree with me, and they're more than, that's their prerogative to disagree.
Right.
However, I do feel convinced to tell someone. So she tells me she's on this patch, and I said, why are you not sleeping? Are you sweating? Are you having all, I'm giving her all the top reasons why women, including like they want to kill somebody because your hormones, it really does make you feel that way. You're much more sensitive. After you let time go by, you're not, but in the initial stage, it does. You have like a surge of testosterone and your estrogen's dropping. You can't sleep. You're sweating to death. She didn't have any of those. So some people don't get any of those. So then I said, why are you doing that? You want to know why she was doing it?
Why?
She was doing it because she thought that she gained 20 pounds in a year. She was showing me pictures of which she looked like she'd gotten a little sicker. And she said that I'm losing all my muscle mass. And I'm like, well, that didn't happen to me. So this is what I think. I think your body is a little shook up, right?
Right.
It goes, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to modify behavior. And so because she's like a massive lifter, right? She's lifting all the time and she's doing the hardcore hour and a half, except when you're over 50, you're not supposed to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because weight is associated with cortisol spikes. So if you're running, that's your fight or flight mood. That's what, when people are running in the old days in nature, that's you're usually running from something. And so you get a cortisol spike. So for older women, I'd say 45 and up, you don't want to do that. They're like, do heavy lifting,
Gotcha.
And stuff. But don't do, and there's another thing that works too, in case people are wondering. After you eat, walk on a treadmill at an incline for 10 minutes right after you eat. So don't sit down on your butt and grab some popcorn.
Yeah, I was told that you should move.
Yeah.
Whether or not if you don't have a treadmill at home, you can still move, walk, do like this, do whatever.
But you're
you
not
need.
supposed to sit after you eat. And the reason why they're like saying now for women, eat, exercise for only 10 minutes too. They're very specific about that. No more than that. So don't think like, oh, I'm going to burn a little bit more by it. No, because that's your cortisol starts spiking. So they want you to keep your cortisol level at a certain pace so that you actually can lose weight doing it. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting. Yeah.
But poor Tim, he's getting the whole menopause conversation here. He's like, I didn't sign up for that.
I'm at that age where that conversation happens a lot with people that I know.
But he's got a whole bunch of them in his class.
And my friends, their wives, and they're going through menopause, perimenopause, all getting an education.
Well, at least they're talking about it.
Right.
And that's why healthcare is so important. I mean, it's the men need the access to mental health care when they're dealing with women that are going through that, because it's not
What would
fun.
you call that? What would you call it when the man's wife is going through menopause and how they have to deal with that?
I always say men have menopause too. It's
The menopause.
Menopause. But I do think men.
There's a joke in there. Sorry.
Come on. What is the joke?
When men say they got menopause, I just say they're just being a bitch. But I come from the old school. You know what I mean? I'm like, reps are not a man up. But I know it's a thing. Right.
But you're really good with people. I mean, you have a good way about you. You're really easygoing, and people really like you and gravitate to you because you're very calm and you're very accepting. You might disagree with somebody, but that somebody's not going to know about it. And if
they do, but they usually leave it alone. It's because how I say how I feel about it, or how I rebuttal what they're saying. Because typically they just want you to agree, or they want some sort of a fight.
It's true.
Right.
So let me ask you this. So how do you think, and I know we've talked about this, how do you think we get people to understand that we're all in this together? Like, how do we get, I know I'm being like, oh, that's Republicans, not Democrats. But at the end of the day, I don't care what political party you have. We've got a healthcare problem in the United States. And it's really expensive now for people because of those tax credits being removed. And that was done by this administration. So let's not label all Republicans bad guys, but the ones in Congress kind of suck. I'm sorry. They kind of suck because, and this is veering a little bit away from healthcare, but, the TSA workers, we've got, so I'm going on a trip to New York. I'm supposed to soon, for spring break. And I think because of what happened today, I'm going to get stuck at the darn airport.
Yeah, how do you know to be there 6 hours early just in case? I don't know what it is now.
Yeah, it was something crazy. Now, I don't know if that's happening at John Wayne. That's where I'm flying out of. But I know it will happen in New York. So I'm thinking, so the senators left today. So 1 week, I've got 1 week before I would go on vacation. And then the week that I'm on vacation, hopefully they return before I have to come back through JFK, because JFK is going to be bad. It's one of the bad ones, like one of the ones where it's horrible. It's like 5 hours or something, which I'm like, why? Well, I guess we'll just sleep in the airport, because I can't even imagine. I think our flight's like it's got a 6 something in the morning flight. How much earlier do I need to get there?
Right.
Like, do I need to get there at 2 a.m.?
Right.
I mean, that's so stupid. But this is all self-inflicted, like the Republicans in the House decided after the Senate, agreed that they were going to sign off on this. So let's just talk about one of my big pet peeves about not giving what America needs to the American people is wrapped up in, what Trump's doing. Like, just for the viewers' knowledge base, $78 billion. And DHS doesn't need any more money. ICE doesn't need any more money.
Right.
The people who need money are the darn TSA people who can't pay their child care bill. They can't get let's just call it out. They can't fill their car up with gas. They don't have any money. Like, what are we talking about here?
And I think it's interesting when there are some hardcore people that are like, they should just go to work and
so
do
stupid.
Their service. I'm like, do you go to work and not get paid?
Yeah.
Would you go to your job knowing you wouldn't get paid for who knows how long because that's your duty?
I think it's absolutely insane.
Right.
I don't, obviously you and I don't agree with that. I wouldn't work for free either.
Right.
If I had a choice of staying home with my children,
right,
or going and working for free in a crazy situation,
right,
I would stay home with my children.
Yeah.
And any normal person would.
Well, and TSA, they don't break the bank, so they need that money to pay for their light bill and their mortgage or rent or their kids or diapers or whatever. They're not like making up millions of dollars. They're getting, $20 an hour or whatever the amount is, but it's not enough to like sit for no pay for a month.
This just makes me so mad because everyone knows I'm not a fan of Elon Musk, although I am a fan of what he did offer. He offered to pay the TSA workers. And Trump said no.
Why does he need his permission?
I don't know how that works because, TSA.
If a private funder says, hey, I'm going to fund the TSA, can that happen?
I don't know that it can. I think it's because it's a federal agency. So I think that they can't do it. Like I don't know if Doge, he must have access to everybody's information. Supposedly he has it all. Why don't you look up all the TSA people and send them a check? I guess you could do that.
Wouldn't you want the TSA to be paid because security could be a massive issue? That's the job of the TSA.
Yeah, well, this president doesn't care about people. He cares about himself, and he cares about his bullying.
Well, he don't go to the regular airport. Yeah, he flies private. He flies on airport.
He has his own plane.
But most guys who are like that have their own plane, so they don't have to deal with TSA.
Right, but the thing that makes me mad is I think this is to deploy ICE in an airport and not have them do anything.
First of all,
why they just
ICE's job, it's like saying putting the National Guard. So what are you, traffic control?
Yeah.
It's not going any faster because they're not screening people, right?
They're
just literally walking around an airport.
They're just standing there and looking like useless drones. I don't understand it. Somebody said, I think it was Steve Bannon. Well, Steve Bannon said, oh, he's just priming it for the election. so that he can place, ICE people at polling areas so they can decide.
Okay, but how many? Okay, are they making ICE arrests at the airport?
They did. They did take. I've seen.
But statistically, how many people were arrested at the airport for how many ICE bodies are in airports?
Oh, I don't know. I know that they confiscated some people. I saw some really awful video of that, but I don't know what they're doing. I guess I'll find out.
Right, but even law enforcement can do that. But I think it's interesting that they're making it like, oh, ICE is at the airport. I'm like, well, they don't need to be at the airport because they're not doing what ICE's job is.
Their job is border security.
Right.
That's not the border. But I do think they think they're going to catch people. But I don't think that's why he did it.
Right.
I think that he did it because they're like, let's do a test run and see how it works when there's long lines, like voting lines and stuff because he doesn't.
Okay, but even in that scenario, how are you testing what would happen at a polling booth? They're not even controlling the lines that are there. They're just standing there.
I know, but I think they want to see how well it's tolerated. Let's see how people tolerate this. So it becomes more, because one of the ways that fascism happens is you get the buy-in of the masses of the people, right? You start to make them comfortable with ideas, right? Look at what we're getting comfortable with. His freaking face is on a flag on the DOJ building. Normally we'd be all Hitler. No president ever has had a picture of them on a long flag on the Department of Justice building ever. He's making, and by the way, he's putting himself on our currency. On the stuff, and let me tell you, I will search out for every goddamn quarter I have before I hold a quarter with Donald Trump's face on it.
But see, what he doesn't understand is that he's just opening the door to, if someone else is just as bad or worse than him after him, to say, oh, now that I'm president, I can do what I want. Let me change all the names back from Trump to whoever's next. Or the dollar bill to whoever's next, or a quarter to whoever's next. So he's just setting a bad precedent.
But see, I don't think other people are as disgusting as he is. Sorry. If you voted for this guy, I will give you a pass that you didn't realize the kind of crazy crap he's going to do. But if you continue to support it, that's on you at this point. Sorry. And I don't really care if people like what I say about it anymore. It used to be like, oh, I want to be nice. I want to be friendly and stuff. But now it's starting to affect my life in a negative way, really negative way, like hitting our pocketbook. It's hurting my husband's business. Everything's more expensive. Interest rates are skyrocketing, and we already worked our bones off the first go around with this nut job. And I got a job on purpose to help subsidize what was going on when he was monkeying with rates last time.
Right.
And so the last thing I wanted was this guy to be president again. But then all those wonderful independent people went out and thought it was a good idea because they believed him. And I thought, were you never watching? Did you not watch this absolute liar? He's like, he can't open his mouth and say the truth. It's not even about whether or not, oh, is he lying again? No, he doesn't open his mouth and say the truth. And if he does say something true, it's usually something quite ugly, where he's name calling somebody or something.
Yeah, and that's in the history of all presidents. That's never happened until he got into office.
Yeah, he makes fun of disabled people.
Is there a person in the Republican Party that could be presidential?
Of course there is.
Yeah.
But most of them have gotten out of the party. Mitt Romney was presidential.
Yeah.
And they got him on some stupid thing where he was in Newport. He was in our neck of the woods at a fancy dinner, and he was saying something that made him sound elitist. And I mean, now it pales in comparison, remember Gary Hart, a Democrat, he was caught on the monkey business with Donna Rice, and he was a married man. And his career was over. You think about John Edwards. He ended up hooking up with some sort of photographer type lady, and they have a child together, and his career was over. I actually ate lunch at a fundraiser for him. And I have some picture of me with John Edwards somewhere. I went to a Newport Beach fundraiser for John Edwards before he got in trouble. But
we slap some on the wrist and some we don't slap at all, right?
Well, I think that we are not slapping Trump on the wrist. I mean, people will be like, oh, but you guys are going after him. Oh, you've got Trump derangement syndrome. No, we don't have it. You have it. If you continue to aid and abet somebody who does bad things to others.
Right.
I mean, it's not even about the political party, because FYI, he was a Democrat his entire life. And then he decides, I'm going to run as a Republican, because he knew he couldn't win as a Democrat, because the Democrats were like, no, he's, a game show host kind of personality type. He's, you're fired, that whole stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you're seeing me come unplugged here because
it's good.
I've been holding it in.
Let it out.
That's kind of a
therapy.
lie. I'm not holding it in quite that well. I mean, I'll get.
You don't have to hold it in though.
But I'm just so mad at the fact that people park their brains somewhere else, like outside their body. I'm like, we're all taught, like, don't name call, don't, do certain things to others, right?
Like we don't like bullies.
We don't like bullies, right? Schoolyard bullies, right. And I'm like, well, where is your line? Like, who was it that said it? I heard someone say it, and they were like, where is your line? Like, where's the line that you won't cross? Like, you're like, that's it. I fail to see where their line is. It's almost like they moved the goalposts.
It's happening. It's happening. Well, this probably happens more often than not. We just don't know about it, and they don't tell stories like that. But the ones that are in the public eye, some of their lines have been crossed, and now the very people that were supporting you, you're now calling them names because
like
now they have
Taylor Greene.
She's not the only one.
Yeah,
they're going after her. They're going after Candace Owens now. They're going after even Megyn Kelly had something to say the other day, and I was like, oh, because there is a line for some people.
There's a line. So for the women, the line is the pedophile stuff, the Epstein files, which if you're not in them, Trump, then why are you causing all this chaos? If you're not in them, then take them out. And I really was unnerved when he's like, it's going to hurt a lot of people. I really don't give a damn if it hurts a bunch of men.
How many children
their
were hurt?
Thing in their pants. What?
How many children were hurt?
That's exactly my point.
Who cares how many people? That the whole point is that you're doing criminal activity, you should be treated like a criminal.
Right. And it makes me mad that he uttered those words. A lot of people would get hurt. I really don't give a damn about those
a lot
adults.
Of people that you care about.
Yeah, well,
because if it was someone you didn't care about, you would give two shits whether or not they got arrested.
Yeah, but he cares about it because I think he has to protect them. Because if he doesn't, they're going to out him.
Right.
It's like a little network, a boys' network. Sorry to your gender, but
it is boys' network.
Boys' network where they're like, hey, man, if you do this, I'll do that.
Right.
And it's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a female and you support this in any way, shape, or form, shame. Yeah. Shame on you. Like, I can't even, if I saw you on the street, I would say it to your face. Right. I'd be like, shame on you. You disgust me. I spit at your feet.
Yeah.
I'm so mad about it.
Right.
I can't even stand the thought of, like, any female supporting any of this nonsense. Right. You're not a normal woman if you have children and support this.
But you have to remember, Ghislaine Maxwell's a female.
Huh?
She supported it.
Who?
Ghislaine Maxwell, is that her name?
Oh, she's disgusting. She's
so there's more women like her who will turn a blind eye to things or be the one to lure people in. Even Tyra Banks did a thing on models who felt comfortable because there was another woman in the room.
Did she get in trouble for something like that?
Well, no, she was actually trying to expose the fact and trying to help models understand that just because there's a woman who answers the door at a photo shoot with a male photographer who happens to be a pervert shouldn't make you comfortable, right?
That makes me just mad,
right.
That people would do that women would do that. And it's usually for money, money or access, right? Like access, power and access. But I mean, I will say, if we were to sit there and say, how many men and women do this? It's heavily weighted in the male area.
Oh,
I hate
of course.
To say,
but madams exist.
But they do. And I do think, there are definitely bad women. And I think one of the survivors for Epstein, I was listening, and she actually was told by Maxwell to recruit girls.
Mm-hmm.
And so when everything started unwinding, they went after her. It was much easier to go after a young woman who was a teenager when she did that and make her the problem, when in fact, these very powerful people were the problem. They ended up letting her go and just treated her as a victim. But But I thought, oh, that's even more gross that you take these scared, children, and then you victimize them a second time by saying, well, you participated in getting other girls. But the only reason they did is because they needed the money.
Yeah, that's typically what happens. Or they thought, there was a case where a young girl recruited another young girl to her like so-called dad, and it wasn't really her dad.
Oh.
But this girl befriended another girl and said, oh, we should hang out sometime, whatever. And then she asked her mom, and her mom said no. Mom was like, no, I don't know this person, I don't know their parents, whatever, right?
Well, that's good.
But then the girl came to her house with her dad.
Oh, and so
was
it
like,
felt safe.
So she felt safe, right? Then they leave with both girls. He left both girls in the car. So we have to make a quick stop at this house. It was hot. The girl gave her a drink of water. When she woke up, she was chained to a bed.
Oh my gosh.
And then I guess he was trying to get her out of this.
Is this part of the Epstein thing?
No, this is a whole different case.
Another whole case of
This is a while back, yeah. And then what ended up happening was that girl has a brother, right? He has like an older brother. And he was just driving around the town trying to find it, couldn't find his sister.
Oh, I thought you were saying he was going to try to find the guy.
No, he was trying to find his sister, and the guy was on his way out of town and stopped at a gas station. And the brother happened to drive by and see her head pop out of the back window. And went over, got her out. The guy came out of the thing and tried to confront him, and the brother pulled a knife on him.
Oh.
But if he hadn't found her, she would have been gone.
She'd have been dead.
Or disappeared into the system.
And these are the things that we're protecting instead of protecting the things that matter. Like, we're protecting pedophiles and I say we, I'm not,
right.
But, our government is, instead of like doing the right thing by, making America a better place for people to live.
Nobody's been actually named, right? In America.
No, but they've been named in, like, Prince Andrew got busted.
Other countries don't abide by their own set of rules, right?
Yeah.
But here, of all the people supposedly in these files, we haven't heard an actual, like, oh, this person's in there. It's all speculation. Mm-hmm. Well, Trump's or so-and-so, Clinton's on the flight log. It goes over 100 other people.
Yeah, I don't know that.
You know what I mean? So how come nothing's happened?
Well, I think that's why they're trying to divert attention other places. I mean, we could go into a whole diatribe about Iran and why that happened when they had a 12-day war where they said they canceled out their nuclear program, and that some of the authorities on energy have said they don't have enough enriched uranium anyway to do what they need to do, and these people monitor this day in and day out. So, and I'm sorry, we have enough intelligence in the United States to monitor and see what other countries are doing and why they're doing it.
But even if we do, because we do, we will never know.
No, we won't know. Just like we didn't. Well, we sort of knew there weren't weapons of mass destruction.
People still think we went to the moon, but you know what I mean. There's just so many things that, like saying, "Oh, Area 51," things that we just don't know because we don't know.
Do you think we did go to the moon?
I don't think there's wind on the moon, and I'm thinking, who's holding the camera on the moon in 1971?
Okay, I never really thought about that. I always assumed they did go on the moon.
When they show the moon landing, it's from.
I want to hear some Tim stuff.
It's a third and third person's perspective from a camera, right? When we see the video,
I thought there were 3 astronauts. Weren't there 3?
Which one was holding the camera?
I don't know.
I don't think anybody knows which one's holding the camera. Second of all, you planted a flag on the moon. We've never been back to the moon since 1971, if we went at all, right?
Oh, I guess we haven't.
And if we planted a flag on the moon, like we planted a flag in the U.S., we've never. Why not go back, right? We passed over the moon, and we want to go to Mars. Why? I understand the climate is different, but I'm saying is, it don't take 6 months to get to the moon. It takes 6 months to get to Mars.
How long does it take to get to the moon? Do you know?
I actually don't know. I don't know the exact time.
I've never explored that. I just assumed they went to the moon.
Because that's what they told us. Right?
Huh. So
and people are going to be like, he's a conspiracy theorist, doesn't believe. I said, well, it's not too far-fetched to go. We were supposed to colonize the moon in the year 2000, during Reagan's era or before Reagan.
Colonize the moon?
That was the whole point in going there in the first place. It was, we want to go to the moon. And they were talking about, because when I was in high school, they talked about, we're going to colonize the moon. We thought, oh, it's going to be like Battlestar Galactica. We're going to like get on a ship and like go to the moon. People are going to move to the moon. That was back when I was a kid.
I never even thought about that.
But we've never been back.
Now, you know what I'm going to do after
Right.
this? I'm going to get on the internet and I'm going to be like, where's the perspective of the camera?
I don't know. Ask Joe Rogan. He might have an answer.
Does Joe Rogan talk about that?
Oh, yeah. He's very into all that.
Really?
That stuff, yeah. But what we do
I'm going to have to tune in.
Well, here's what we do in this country a lot, right? We say so-and-so's a professional. So that means he's an expert.
Right.
But if you watch like the movies that we make, right, about like alien encounters and things like that, there's always like some scientist like stuck and trapped in something like 20 feet below the surface who will never be able to leave unless they kill him because he has too much. He's seen too much and knows too much.
So what about Roswell? We are digressing from healthcare here, but
what I'm saying is that
what do you think about Roswell? Do you think aliens have come here?
I don't put it past the fact that we've had aliens that have been here or are here. You know what I mean? They may not be what the picture that we've painted of what an alien looks like. When we were little, they were a little green man with really big eyes. Right? That's what they told us. They also told us that Santa Claus went down your chimney. But like,
you guys are getting it, right? These are all Timisms. Tim has Timisms when he moves and when he thinks.
Yeah. Because I'm like, well, we're like, even now, if you tell somebody, does your kid believe in Santa Claus? We're like, my kid believes in Santa Claus. Okay, well then they should believe in Iron Man too. They should believe in the Little Mermaid. They should believe.
Hey man, I went to great lengths to put reindeer paws.
Right. They should believe that.
But I told my son, Kris Kringle was a real person that really delivered toys to children that didn't have any.
Right. But if you talk about Old Saint Nick, that's a little bit more closer to maybe like the truth. The fairy tale of Santa Claus dropping and then leaving cookies and milk, and he comes down your chimney and gives you the presents you want if you've been good.
Right.
And he does this around the world. Right. And I'm like, okay.
How's he do it?
Because that would be magic, right?
Right, it'd be magic. But now you've got me. I am all unnerved about the moon now. I am unnerved about the moon. I mean,
how come we've never been back to the moon?
Maybe because it
we'll send a drone. I don't know if it's a drone or a droid or a drone to Mars, right? And we actually had a drone. They were trying to sell. By the way, this is another side Timism. This is because I know I had a friend and he had the rights to the show called Mars One Project, which was they were going to take 5 civilians, right? Basically turn them into astronauts, right? On a one-way trip to Mars.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
The catch was it was a one-way trip.
You couldn't come back.
If you make it. Right.
Well, who wants to do that?
A bunch of people. Because they charged $40 a person to apply and they made $7 million in the first week.
Oh.
Because people were intrigued with it. I want to go to Mars. I don't want to be here. I'd rather just go to Mars. But what they don't understand is they call it a red planet. The information that they give us about Mars is like the surface is supposed to be somewhat similar to Earth. But they also call it the red planet because it's extremely hot. Right?
Yeah. Well,
they also said
that would be a no bueno for me.
They also said that the biospheres that we've been building since I was in high school, right? Which are sustainable indoor, like an apartment, so you grow your crops inside, your oxygen is flowing inside. And my thing was, well, if Mars is supposed to be the surface of the Earth, why would we need to be inside all the time?
A crispy critter.
But we sold people on it, right? We also sold people on the fact who don't believe in aliens that Mars is where they came from. Like when we were little, Martians came from Mars, right? So where does it flip?
Now you've got me thinking. I'm going to be thinking about things I did not plan on thinking about.
See, we only know what we're taught, told, and choose to believe, right? So when people start thinking on their own and go, wait a minute, or questioning things, this is why this goes all the way. This is the circle back when we were talking about like science and what people say and hiring people to go, this is this way because this guy's an expert in that field.
Well, you told me a whole thing about the FDA.
But what if I told you I can pay him to say whatever I want him to say because he's never seen that kind of money?
Yeah. Well, I think there's some truth in that. I mean, you and I have had these conversations where we've talked about, it was FDA approved, right? Or this study or that study. Like, what I learned was, if I'm going to follow a study, there better be a damn lot of people in it. And most importantly, there better be a person like I was. And guess what? For the cancer treatment that they give women across the globe with the OncoDX scoring, they didn't have any hormone therapy users in that study whatsoever. And if you ask for the appendix and you get lucky enough to read it like I did, you'll find out they purposely excluded hormone users, whether it was a suppressant or a replacement hormone. They didn't have them in there because they wanted people's baseline biology. So they're actually, and they say in the study, they are actually not wanting to use hormone therapy users in the study because it would elevate, if you did a replacement, it would elevate your score. So chemoing somebody whose natural biology wouldn't call for it, or a suppressant, an aromatase, which would lower it when it was actually a person who probably would need chemotherapy.
Right.
And that just made me mad that nobody looked into that, or they didn't care.
They just probably didn't care. So
they didn't care.
We have an opioid problem in this country. Mm-hmm. Aren't most opioids FDA approved?
I guess they are. That's kind of weird, huh? When you think of it like that, and those, or say it like out loud.
It's not illegal to buy Adderall. They can subscribe it to you, right?
Well, I'm
just using that as an example, but like the opioid problem. So there was a running joke when I was in like a senior in high school or early college. If you want pills, you want Vicodin, you want Somas, you want all these opioid pills, just ask the soccer mom. She probably has them in her purse.
Oh.
Because it was known that a lot of women at that time who were going through some sort of therapy or going through some hormonal change or whatever was being prescribed medicine by their doctors.
Oh, so they're like, yeah, here, have some pills.
Which is why people would go to Mexico, because you don't need the prescription. You could just go into a pharmacy and go, give me 200 Somas and 200 Vicodins, and they'll hand you the bag.
Ugh. Well, I just think that there's a whole thing about the FDA making money, too.
The FDA is a business.
Yeah,
no matter what anybody says.
If you give me this, I'll give you that. Because if you could see the host of nonsensical side effects that the drug that they gave me gives you, like, let's just start off with like the basic one, like joint pain, right? Oh, everybody's got joint pain. Now out there, you can't even close your hands into fists in the morning. Oh, and then it could give you diabetes or macular degeneration. Now my eyesight's blurry. Or wow, perhaps it ruins the lining of your stomach, or it cripples you beyond being able to walk down your stairs. Or, blood clot. I read a woman ended up in the hospital with a blood clot in her leg, or best one yet, a heart attack. And you're like, but they're not the top 10, so why don't you just try to take the drug and see if one of those happens?
But all those drugs, right? So
when
they sell these drugs, especially late at night, take this pill because it works. When is a pill worth $350 when it works? But the disclaimer at the bottom of every one of those commercials is a sentence most people don't read because the font is so small you don't read it, or they rattle off the possible side effects at a crazy rapid pace.
Like on the commercials,
right?
You could die from this. You could get this. You could get that.
People's brains are like, can't process it.
I think you were the first person that made me think. When I first started talking to you about this stuff, and what happened with your mom and everything, and you were the first person that made me take a little moment, a little pause, and say, he's right. Like, that's funny. Maybe they do get paid. Maybe the FDA is being, letting a drug go through, because when you look at all of the side effects, you're like, is this the best you can do?
Right.
So this is the only solution you have to stop a crazy disease from happening to me. But you're going to destroy everything else about me as a human being.
Right.
But
I would say this. My disclaimer is I'm speculating, right? My disclaimer is I'm trying to rule out or question everything, because we're just doing what we're told, right?
Right.
We're just believing what people say. But healing in this country, especially in this country, healing, to say you can heal someone or cure, that's a better word, cure someone in this country of anything is illegal, right?
Yeah. Well,
you can't make that claim,
right.
Because now what might heal one person may not heal the next person.
Right, because the patient has to be on board with the idea of it. So I think that your mind over matter, like, you know how I say your brain is the pilot of your plane, right? Mm-hmm. Your body's the plane, your brain's the pilot. And if your brain doesn't tell somebody in seat D2 mm-hmm. that this is going to be a comfortable ride and you're going to end up landing where you're supposed to safely,
right.
Your brain, so like I told myself, this is like poison to me. Mm. So even if I were to take it, it would act like poison in my body because my brain thinks that because of all the weird stuff that started to happen. I mean, honest to God, I would wake up in the morning, my eyelids were stuck to my eyeballs. And I'm like, what is this? You know, and I'm like,
right.
I didn't even know when I had my little cancer friend. I didn't even know it was in there. And I was going about my life, having a really good life. And then they do surgery, they radiate you or chemo you if you're really unfortunate and fall for that one. Yeah. And then, you know, they put you on not one, but they want to try to give you more than one drug. Because you know what they did? Kisqali was for metastatic breast cancer. That means it's metastasized somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So they put you on Kisqali. Guess what? The FDA decided to approve it for first stage breast cancer survivors too. Just extra because there's more of them. Right. Than there are of the metastatic. There's more for, so they're like, oh, let's tap into that. I told them, hell to the no, you're not giving me that. It's like not classified as a chemo drug, but acts like a chemo drug. Jeez. Like, why would you give that? In addition to the other thing that I told you, that
because you
blind you.
Because you can.
Yeah, but people are scared. Mm. That's what happens when people are scared and their body goes haywire on them, or it takes a detour from their healthy existence. They expect doctors to fix it, right? That's the doctor's job, is to fix it. But what I've learned is the doctors don't care about fixing you or bringing your body to homeostasis. Mm-hmm. They don't care about that. That's too woo-woo for them.
Yeah.
I also found out doctors, so they don't care about your food and they don't care about your mental state. They don't care about those things. They don't care about where you came from. And they don't know a lot about the drugs they give you. They get a week of pharmacology, right, and they get a week of nutrition when they go to med school.
Right.
And those two things are super important for somebody who gets a disease,
right?
You know, that especially a disease that they feel you have to be medicated for. But why would you not look at food? I drink that smoothie and they told me no, what was it? No antioxidant supplements. Mm. And so I said, well, can I have this blueberry, raspberry, guava, supersod, charred kale, spinach, chia seed, flaxseed smoothie every morning with spring water?
Right.
Of course. You don't think that antioxidant concoction that I made is better than those supplement pills that I would take? Mm. But they're like, no, the supplement pills, that will affect your radiation, but this smoothie won't. I mean, what is it? You know,
yeah,
I will say.
That's why you have to constantly do and like I said, everybody's body's different. What works for one person may not work for the next. Now, I do believe in science, you know what I mean? So, like, I believe that we've created things that can definitely go down that road of health. They don't necessarily live in the U.S. all the time either, right? Because there's medications you can get that are, like, barred or banned from the U.S., but people go there and they come back and they're fine. And then the reverse happens also. Like, our food is way worse than other countries' food.
Yeah, it's way worse because we allow chemicals. And the good rule of thumb when you eat a food, make sure it doesn't have any more than 3 ingredients in it on the back.
Right.
And also, if it comes in a package, it's most likely not so good for you.
Well, it's processed. Everything in the package is processed. Yeah. You have to ship it, send it to a store. It has to have shelf life, like all those things.
But you'd be surprised. So there's a ecology center, and I went today. And I bought lettuce because I'm paranoid of spinach now if it's not organic. And even if it is organic, it still tests for pesticides because pesticides blow over from the big farm to the organics.
Right.
Or the soil's crap. So, you know, it's made eating no pain in the butt. And I get punished. My body punishes me now if I eat processed food because I've gone so long now without eating a lot of processed food that when I do, like I just had some noodles, some really yummy ones too, from a Thai restaurant, and I will be up all night long because my stomach is mad,
right?
Because it's processed somewhere in there. But I did find a place where I could buy pasta from Italy that's not from here.
Nice.
The Ecology Center sells that, and then there's a fermentation, and we'll have her on as a guest, the woman that owns that.
Yes, we will.
Because she talks a lot about integrative health and not putting poison in your food, and all the food that she sells, the meat and stuff that she sells, and the different products, because she sells all sorts of different kinds of products. You can buy beef chili there, and none of it has hormones or antibiotics in it. It's grass fed. So like you just have to think about the evolution of food, like the circle food cycle. Like you figure, if this is just an example, I'm not saying we're poisoning ourselves exactly, but like if I have like rodent kill in my yard, right? That little rat eats it. He's got poison in him and he dies out on the road. The coyote comes, he eats it, he gets sick. And then the hawk sees a dead coyote. He
dies, and then a vulture comes, and then it's just a cycle of life.
It's a cycle. So I think that happens with people, with our food. So if you grow food in bad soil, like our soil's not milled right, then the actual vegetable or fruit that you're growing is already compromised. It's not the same as it would if it was growing in something that was a healthy, milled, bunch of dirt. And then you spray pesticides on it. Now you've got a bigger problem. Now you've got to go, is it one of the 7 dirty dozen, which includes strawberries? Today I ate a strawberry. I haven't eaten one in 10 years. And I got it from a farm that had really good soil that did not pesticide.
You know what helps me? What helps me is I drank the hose water when I was a kid.
You're going to say I drink?
No.
I just make it
I
all
drank
go
the
away.
hose water when I was a kid. So
but our water
the bacteria in my life, in my system from way back when, that water probably out by now, I think helped have a strong immune system.
When we were young, the water was okay out of the hose.
Right.
They weren't chemically treating our water. Remember the water used to taste sweet?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And we never had bottled water back then. Then we got these salt machines that would soften the water in your house.
Yeah, and then it makes your hair go bad.
Yeah.
When you have long hair, when your hair is like, oh, now my hair's not soft. It's all like dried out and everything because you put those.
But if you actually go back and think about, and I'm not saying that the water is healthier, but the mere fact that it came through a pipe into a hose that you never cleaned because it's just a hose. And we would just drink the water with no fear whatsoever and no complications.
Yeah, well, we didn't have seatbelts either, and we're still sitting here, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things that I think have changed.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the incidence of disease on younger people is an indication that something's wrong.
Right.
Like, is it in the air? Like, is it in the water? Is it the microplastics? I mean, there's so much stuff, which makes, it's funny. I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but when Bernie Sanders was running, I thought, I'm way too in the middle for that guy. He's like out there, and he would say over and over, healthcare is a human right. And I used to be like, oh yeah, Bernie Sanders is correct. It is a human right. We should have access. Every single human being should have access to healthcare, because if you don't, it will ruin you financially. I know people who have had situations where their spouses needed, a transplant. And news to me, I didn't know, depending on what state you live in, it might have to prove you can pay for a transplant.
Right.
So there are states like Arizona where you don't get the option of being selected unless you can say, I'm good for this. And guess what? For transplants, it's like $1.6 million.
Well, a lot of people die in this country, especially, but a lot of people die just because they can't afford stuff. They can't afford medical anything. You know what I mean? So a lot of people, they don't have the money, like you said, to do the surgery. They don't have the money to do the transplant, and so then they do whatever they can, and most of them pass away.
I always thought that's what insurance was for, but then you find out that
Insurance is a scam.
There's this really lovely gal, Courtney Benson. You should follow her on Instagram. She's really amazing. And her handle is I'm just a girl with cancer. And she's the one who coined that. I told you the basic bitch cancer that I have. She called it that. Mm-hmm. But like, I've been following her, and I'm shocked that she'll go to get treated. I didn't have any of this. I was lucky. Like, I didn't want radiation, but nobody said, Diane, no. They just said, these are the dates you come in. They put stickers all over me. I wore stickers for like 6 months all over my body, which I appreciated, because otherwise I'd get tattooed, and I didn't want a bunch of dots on me for the rest of my life. Right. And they actually denied that poor woman radiation. They're like, first of all, they gave her some sort of garbage about HIPAA laws because she was filming in there, yet they film. Right. But because there were other patients, she didn't film other patients. She only filmed herself. Right. So, but this poor woman, she has an excellent attitude. She's stunning. She's probably one of the prettiest bald women I've ever seen. And she's just joyful. And it makes me sad as all get out that she gets this resistance to do what's considered life-saving treatment, you know? And that's what's shocking to me. She has insurance. Right. So just when you have insurance, you think, oh my God, when I need it, I get an opportunity to finally use what I've been paying for. And then you find out that everybody's got a different rule because we segment everything here in the United States.
Got out to a drunk driver hit her on the freeway. Oh. Right. Well, he sideswiped one car and then veered into her. Right. So he gets arrested for DUI. Right. He's found guilty of DUI. And then 2 cars he's got to pay for. But the insurance company, we know he had good insurance, was trying to prove that we weren't at fault. That Kayla wasn't at fault, even though she got blindsided by a drunk driver, because they don't want to pay what it costs to have it fixed, even though that's why you have insurance. Right?
Oh, that's just a terrible thing.
But then it happens a lot where they go, well, I have insurance. They go, well, we only cover so much.
Yeah, you don't find out till you need your insurance.
Like, you need gap insurance and like all these other things. You're like, okay, well, isn't that the job? As much money as those insurance companies take monthly from the entire population, what the percentage of people who need it at any given time, right? After they've invested how much money in the stock market, probably just sitting there accruing interest on it, right? Right. But they still have a problem paying out when somebody actually needs the insurance to kick in.
Well, there's just a small, there's just a small select of like manufacturers of food. There's a small select group of wealthy people that actually control most of what happens in the world. Yeah. And we're the regular folks, you know, sitting on the outside, hoping that we're just not regular enough to be covered on some of the stuff. Yeah. But it's really kind of a shocking thing to find out that you have insurance and these are real problems for Americans, right? Just like paying your electric bill is a problem, paying your gas and stuff. And I just want to get a Congress back in working for the American people. I want the American people to take care of it and vote for people who care about people. I don't care whether there's an R or D. And when I say there's an R, they better damn well be a real Republican, not this MAGA garbage. Exactly. I mean, a real Republican who believes in fiscal responsibility. My whole family is Republican. And I want real Republicans. I want people who care about fiscal responsibility and who stay out of your business. Right. And then take care of the American people. Make sure they have food, shelter, and
100%.
And healthcare.
Yep.
And that's all I've got to say about that.
And that's all I got to say. It's not black or white. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of It's Not Black or White. We're your host, Tim Stevenson.
And Diane Blakely.
And we will see you in the next pod.
We'll see you.
Not black or white. It's not black or white with Tim Stevenson and Diane Blakely.